But let's get to Garry Cobb from Fox 29 and look at his takeaway on a pretty big weekend here. And, it's funny. I'm trying to do this, Garry, to people. It's April 29th. It's Monday. These men don't even own helmets yet. Let's not name these guys all pro yet right away.
Yeah, that's right.
What was your takeaway from the draft?
Well, I think things just kind of fell into place for the Eagles with the fact that, they had, guys that they were looking at. Of course, the young kid, Quinyard, for them to grab him first, and they had their eye on him. Well, he dropped to where they didn't even have to move up to get him, because I think they went into the draft with the thoughts that they were going to have to move up and get him. And then, of course, with the gene, that he kind of fell to them, and then they had to move up. And I will give Howie credit. He if he sees somebody he wants, he's going to aggressively go up to get him. So, that's what he did. And I think that those kids, how much are they going to be able to help initially? They're going to have to learn the game. I know that they're not going to be playing like they've been in the league 5 years once they get in. But they're very talented. Both of them are very talented. But they're going to have to work them into the offense, into the defense. And so I don't think that is going to happen where they're going to be spectacular overnight. But I think it's going to be an improvement, because they were horrible last year at the end of the year. The defense was horrible. So overall, I'd have to say, I like what they did. I mean, I like the fact that, they get these two guys that I think the gene, I think he's going to be on the field immediately. I mean, because they need a guy like them, because he's willing to tackle. He can play the safety position, really. And what he's going to do is he can play nickel, because Avonte Maddox has been hurt so much. Even though he does a good job playing the nickel, but he's been hurt so much, you can't count on him to be there. So I think the gene is going to be playing a lot of nickel because in that spot, you're kind of playing safety. You got to make tackles. You can look up and they're coming around the corner at you, so you got to be willing to tackle. And DeJean has the ability where he's got these different qualities that allow him to play safety and to play corner. So I think that's outstanding. I think that's just what they needed. And
they got value picks, Garry. I mean,
yeah,
22, they got the kid Mitchell, which was a top 10 prospect.
Correct.
Then the kid Cooper DeJean was supposed to be a first rounder. They got him at 40. So here's what I would say about the draft overall. They addressed every single draft pick was a need that they had to address. You and me know this, how that next step is now going to matriculate into the NFL. How will Vic use them? Will they use Shipley in the pass game? Are there going to be more screen passes? Does this mean now also that Bradbury is going to be a June 1 casualty, you think, because they drafted two corners? You think he's out, or do you think they go into camp with him?
Well, I think they're going to try to find a way to utilize him, because that's just dead money, At the same time, I think, though, if it plays out where he's not one of the best guys there, I think they're gonna get rid of him. I think they're going to just go ahead and eat it, because they've got so many people that they have some young kids that he might not be. Let's say they keep 10 DBs or whatever. He might not be amongst the top 10, so I don't think they're going to get rid of a young kid in order to keep him around. So I think they would end up just eating the money, and go ahead and just cutting him, because some of these guys, I think, have a chance to where there could be more guys there that are better than him, to the point to where they just end up cutting Bradbury.
How about this, Garry? You obviously, I just had Mark Farzetta on. You're going to be more, because you knew Jeremiah Trotter Sr. and me as a guy, and you and I know how the NFL works. Nobody cares about anything. However, this is a great story. Dad played great. Yeah. My takeaway on the Trotter thing is it's nice. He's not terrible. He's not a game-changing guy. He's another undersized linebacker. Will he be smart because of the intangibles his dad probably helped him with? He played at Clemson. All of that plays into it. I don't hate on it, but Howie was saying this 2 weeks ago he wanted to draft a kid. So don't tell me the draft board landed there. You wanted the kid.
Yeah.
What's your takeaway on Trotter?
Well, I think it's a case where, this is something that seemed like they wanted to do.
It's a sentimental pick, don't you think?
Yeah, it's a sentimental pick, and they're rooting for the kid, but it's going to be tough for him. I'll be honest, because all the fans here, and I'm not taking a shot at Eagles fans, but if you think they're going to give him a break because he's a Trotter, they're not, because they're going to be comparing. If anything, it's going to be tougher on him because they're comparing every play to his dad. And they remember his dad at the type of his game. They don't remember his dad when he was first coming into the league, So it's going to be tough on the kid. I know his dad will help him get ready for it, and he'll be where he's focused on the football and don't worry about what everybody is saying. The big thing you want to do is make sure you're getting better as a player, that you know what you're doing. And because of his dad tutoring him all these years, he's a smart football player. That's going to be one of the keys, being able to anticipate routes that receivers, because a lot of times now as a linebacker, you find yourself one-on-one with a receiver, in a box. You're in that area where you're playing a zone, but you really got him man-to-man in that area. And so you got to have an idea of what route he's running. And a lot of times smarts will get you a long ways, because really with the kid they had there that's is with the Bears, TJ Edwards, he wasn't an outstanding athlete so much and everything, but he was smart. He knew what route the guy was running when he would come into his area. And a lot of times he did a great job knocking down balls. If the guy does catch the ball, he tackles him immediately. And so that's what I think you're going to see out of Jeremiah Trotter Jr. You're going to see a smart football player. And I think over time, he'll be able to come in, he'll be fine.
Two last questions for you. How do you feel about this? And I want you to expand on it for me. Why this organization refuses to address the linebacking core: Bryce Huff, Nakobe Dean, Devin White, Nolan Smith. I'm sorry, Gary. They didn't improve there.
Yeah,
they just did not improve.
Yeah, well, I don't know how, Vic Fangio, I thought we were going to see a little change there, to where they would maybe address the linebacker position earlier, because, the kid that they did get, he's a pass rusher. He's not really inside linebacker. That's not what he's going to be playing. He's going to be rushing the passer. But I think that that they think they have enough. I mean, they did get Trotter. These guys they got in here. I would have liked them to seen them do more, but I just don't think that they obviously are going to stay where they're at, which is they don't believe it's necessary, or they didn't have they didn't see the guy they wanted on the board or whatever. So we'll have to wait and see, but we're gonna have to just do with what we got. I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah, and you're putting more emphasis on the LB position, playing a 34, compared to playing a 43, where you have more personnel with more talent in your D line than you do. It just really doesn't make sense for me. All right, final question for you. With all the money that's been spent on offense and everything, I mean, boy, I got to tell you here, Gary, I think this is a make or break year for Jalen Hurts.
Well, how
can you spend all that money and all that draft equity and not think that you can't get to an NFC title? If you don't get to an NFC title game, Gary, and you get bounced in the opening round by the Bucs,
that would be very disappointing. Yeah, that would be very disappointing. But they couldn't blow him out of there that quick, because with the money that they've committed to him, he's gonna have to play really bad. Because $50 million a year. Come on, I don't.
With them cap hits, All right, hey Gary, I'm gonna let you go, but I didn't think about what I didn't think about what you said though until, hey Trotter Jr., you're nowhere near your old man, you
Hey,
bum.
hey,
Hey man, I feel for that kid now, man.
I feel for him. Hey, hey, Philly's not, they're not gonna take a break on the kid, man. So he's just gonna have to be tough-minded and learn his craft. That's just focus on the football, and everything else will work fine. But he's gonna hear some things. He just got to just keep on playing, man.
Absolutely, Gary. Thank you so much, my friend.
Hey, have a good one.
You got it. That's our friend Garry Cobb from Fox 29, covering the Eagles here. All right, what I'll do is we'll take a quick time out here, and what we'll do, we'll take a look at some of the teams that really had a good draft. And at the top of the hour, we'll reset, and we'll go back into it again. And by the way, I'm sorry that if some of you came here expecting me to go A+. How do you know that? How do you know that? I'm looking at need, position, who coached you, what you did production-wise in college. I mean, there's certain players, obviously, you like in the draft. A-. A-. How in the world do you come up with an A-? They were expecting you to bash themselves. The Philly heel. How can you bash something on a draft Monday? They haven't played it down. How can you bash that? I'm not going to sit here and bash something just to bash it. What I will bash is players drafted from nowhere, college U, a guy who's undersized. That I will do. All right, let's take a timeout. Keep it here, National Football Show.